The banks are required to maintain a certain ratio between their cash in hand and total assets. This is called SLR, statutory liquid ratio. What is repo rate? RR is the rate at which the RBI lends money to commercial banks, which is at the apex of industrial finance in India. Industrial Development Bank of India, IDBI, which is called a banker's check. Demand draft, DD. To prevent recurrence of scams in Indian capital market, the government has assigned regulatory powers to SCBI. The SCBI was given statutory recognition in 1992 on the recommendation of the Narasimham Committee, the place where bankers meet and settle their mutual claims and accounts is known as Clearing House. In 1921, the Presidency Banks of Bengal, Madras and Bombay were nationalized by the then government to give birth to which bank? Imperial Bank of India, present State Bank of India. How many private commercial banks were nationalized in 1969? 14. The National Housing Bank was set up in India as a wholly owned subsidiary of which bank? Reserve Bank of India. Subprime lending is a term applied to the loans made to those borrowers who do not have a good credit history. Private sector mutual funds in India were permitted from which year? 1993. Which results by dividing national income by size of population? Per capita income. What is the main reason for low per capita income in India? High population. Which is the regulatory authority for giving clearance for external commercial borrowing? RBI. The zero-base budgeting in India was first experimented from April 1987. Railway budget in India was separated from general budget in 1924-25. Which Indian economists had done pioneering work on national income? V.K.R.V. Rao. National income of India is compiled by Central Statistical Organization. After 1991, the central government implemented various far-reaching reforms in the area of taxation. This was based on the recommendations of the Raja Chelia Committee. How does the consumer benefit with VAT? It removes tax on tax and thus reduces price rise. Octroi is a tax levied and collected by local bodies. Which agency has the power to declare any industrial unit as a potentially sick unit? Board for Industrial and Financial Reconstruction, BIFR. Which unit of valuation is known as paper gold? Special drawing rights, SDR. Which is the basic characteristic of oligopoly? Few sellers, many buyers. Short-term government security paper is called Treasury Bill. Which law states that with constant taste and preferences, the proportion of income spent on foodstuff diminishes as income increases? Angell's Law. When a large number of investors in a country transfer investments elsewhere because of disturbed economic conditions, it is called flight of capital. Freeing the economy from all unnecessary controls and regulations is referred to as liberalization. From which year the policy of globalization of Indian economy has been followed? 1991. If inflation is 1% and you receive a 1% raise in your nominal wage, by how much did your real wage change? 0%. In India, the term Black Revolution is associated with self-dependence in the production of petroleum crude oil. For international money transfer, which Indian Public Sector Bank has signed MOU with MoneyGram Company of America? Punjab National Bank. Meera Sit Committee was related to development of handlooms. National income estimates in India is prepared by which organization? Central Statistical Organization, CSO. When was National Commission on Labour was set up? December 1966. Who was the chairman of the National Commission on Labour, 1966? Justice P.B. Gajendragadkar. The human effort applied to the production of goods in economics is called labour. The Monopolies and Restrictive Trade Practices Act, MRTP Act, was passed by Parliament in which year? 1969. Unit Trust of India, UTI, was established in which year? 1964. Unit Trust of India, UTI, was bifurcated into UTI 1 and UTI 2 in which year? 2003. In India, Yellow Revolution is associated with production of all seeds. Which program was launched in 1974-75 with the main objectives of improving the utilization of created irrigation potential? Command Area Development, CAD. Project Sankalp is associated with the elimination of AIDS, HIV. A proportion of the total deposits and reserves of the commercial banks that is to be kept with the central bank, RBI, on liquid form as a measure of control of RBI over the commercial banks is known as Cash Reserve Ratio, CRR. In order to control inflationary price rise, Reserve Bank directs banks to increase cash reserve ratio, CRR. Inflation is measured in India on the basis of which index? Wholesale Price Index. In India, the second largest provider of employment after agriculture is textile sector. The Foreign Exchange Management Act, FEMA, was passed in which year? 1999. The number of times a unit of money exchanges hands during a unit period of time is known as velocity of the circulation of money. What method is used by the bank to read code on check? MICR, magnetic ink character recognition. If there is a decrease in the money supply as compared to the supply of goods and services, what will be the likely outcome? Deflation. The countries with per capita income of US $955, 2017, or less are termed as low-income countries. What the countries with per capita income of US $12,056 per annum and above in 2017 are called rich countries. Which agency of India decides the minimum support prices of the agricultural crops? Commission for Agricultural Costs and Prices, CACP. Revenue from agricultural income tax is collected and received by only state government. Which agency of the Indian government implements the Prime Minister's Employment Generation Program? Khadi and Village Industries Commission. Name the international financial institution which controls the exchange value of currencies of different countries. IMF, International Monetary Fund. Community Development Program in India started in 1952. Center-state financial relations are looked after by Finance Commission. If the withdrawal of a worker from employment does not create any output loss, this situation is known as disguised unemployment. The Green Revolution in agriculture has made the Indian farmers dependent on fertilizers and pesticides. The term Golden Revolution is most closely related to which mission? National Horticulture Mission. In which year was the Food Corporation of India set up? 1965. The 1 rupee currency notes of India are issued by the Ministry of Finance, Government of India. What is balance of payments account of a country? Country's economic transactions with the rest of the world. The basis for determination of dearness allowance of urban salaried workers and government employees in India is Consumer Price Index, CPI, for industrial workers. Which organization brings out the Consumer Price Index number for industrial sector? The Labor Bureau. Niti Aayog is set up by a resolution by Union Cabinet. Who is the pioneer of economic nationalism? Bipin Chandra Pal. The National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, NABARD, was established in 1982. The new agricultural strategy was introduced in India in the decade of 1960s. In the wake of the Stockholm Conference, the Government of India set up the National Committee on Environmental Planning and Coordination in the year 1972. Marginal workers are people with less than 183 days of work in a census year. What is meant by TRIPS? Trade-related aspects of intellectual property rights. Which country ranks first on the basis of per capita on GDP? Qatar. Data as on March 2023. What was the period of TISA's terrible economic recession? 1929 to 1933. What does the term NSDL stands for? National Securities Depository Limited. Which industry employs the largest number of women in India? Tea. Which treaty provided for a common currency for the member countries of European Community? Maastricht Treaty. What is COFEPOSA in economic offences? The Conservation of Foreign Exchange and Prevention of Smuggling Activities Act, COFEPOSA, is an Indian law passed in 1974 trying to retain foreign currency and prevent smuggling. When did the Kisan credit card schemes for the farmers started in India? 1998. What is called tax haven? A country which gives tax exemptions to the foreign citizens that there will be no tax on investing the money in their country. The situation to make someone better off without making someone worse off in terms of economics is called Pareto efficiency. In economics, a goods whose demand decreases when consumer income rises is called inferior goods. The exchange of commodities between two countries is referred as volume of trade. Which is the biggest contributor of foreign exchange reserve of India? Foreign currency assets. What does COPRA stand for? COPRA, the Consumer Protection Act, 1986. When was Public Distribution System, PDS, implemented in India? 14th January 1945. National Food Grain Movement Plan is primarily related to modernization of public distribution system. Who decides the savings bank's account interest rate in India? Board of the banks themselves. Special Economic Zone concept was first introduced by which country? China. What is AgMark? Certification mark for agricultural produce. Where is the headquarters of the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, GATT, organization? Geneva. In which year did the European Economic Community, EEC, popularly known as the European Common Market, ECM, come into existence? 1958. Which country is the OPEC's largest oil exporter? Saudi Arabia. The International Air Transport Association, IATA, aims to promote safe, regular and economical air transport and to provide a forum for collaboration. When was it founded? 1945. Which organization was brought into existence by the Treaty of Rome? European Economic Community. Government policy about exports and imports is called EXIM policy. In the balance sheet of a company, the items goodwill, patents and trademarks are shown under the heading Fixed Assets.
Thanks for watching Speed GK YouTube channel. Please support our YouTube channel, kindly subscribe and also please share this video with your friends. Thank you.